guys, this is Blake and you're listening to the Three Hand Hunter channel. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here to talk about probably one of the most mysterious, maybe the rarest of Vostok cases around, the 270 case. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Vostok. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Vostok, and I'm going to compare it to a 420 case, which happens to be right over here. Before I do that, I want to thank my buddy Andrew. He's a local watch enthusiast, good friend of mine, very good friend of mine. He loaned me his Vostok here so I can compare the two because they are very similar, but there is one unique difference. As I'm going through this, I want to say if you like seeing videos like this that are a little bit different than the normal review videos you might see on YouTube, make sure you give me a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. I just like taking you guys through my journey. I wish I would have started this, so many years ago. I go through so many watches, and Vostok is one that that in particular I've gone through a lot. I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've gone through in the past and why I've got some experience with Vostok. But I want to say that I'm not an expert either with Vostok, and I'm just an enthusiast. So with this particular case and maybe some of the Vostok cases you might find out there, if you have something to add, please jump in the discussion and write it below, because not only will I gain from that knowledge that you have, but also the rest of the watch community out there reading and trying to research about these particular watches. So let's talk a little bit about my experience with Vostok. So Vostok is, it's a Russian brand. They make these automatic, mechanical, very tough and very durable watches. They're very unique. They're very quirky, and I love them. I've gone through so many, and as you can see here in the pictures, I've gone through a lot, I've owned a lot, and believe it or not, these happen to be the watches that garner the most attention from people that aren't watch enthusiasts. And I enjoy them. And as an enthusiast, you can go down a very dark path. I'm joking about that. It's actually quite fun. But you go through, you buy some because they're really inexpensive. You change them out, you mod them because the pieces are so readily available. And then you kind of shift back and, get rid of some, and then you buy some more. It's fun. It is really an enjoyable experience from a watch enthusiast standpoint. But I love the amphibias. The amphibias, there tends to be so many mods. They're very durable. Like I said, they're tough. They've got great water resistance. If you ever mess with the crowns, they are going to be wobbly, but that's supposedly by design. The Caseback, I'm surprised that most or more watch companies don't use the same design as the Amphibia. They have this ring that's inside of them. You pull off this, you unscrew this, and then there's a ring that unscrews, and then that's what holds the case together. It doesn't have any seals. It's really unique, but they're durable, and I've swam with mine a lot. I really enjoy them. They have the plexiglass crystal, but in my experience and in my findings, I found the 270 case, which you see here, to be one of the rarest around. And if you know of any other rare cases, please let us know. But originally I thought this was a Komodorski. Now the Komodorski is like the field type of watch that Vostok makes. They're thinner because they're hand wound. But the amphibians tend to be 15 millimeter plus because of that thick acrylic crystal. And you can see this one is no different. So this is an amphibian, but it's a 270 case, and see it's about 15.2 millimeters thick. Now, why is this one unique? Well, let's talk a little bit about this case. Now, this is a modded version, just so everybody is aware. This is not the original dial. I'm not sure if it's the original movement, but it's not the original dial. It's pulled off an Amphibia. And the previous owner, I found this particular one in Hong Kong, and he had ripped off the Vostok bezel, put on the smooth bezel to give it more of a panerai type of look, which I like. I think it's really nice, and it's very easy to read. That's one of the things for me. Having a watch that's very legible is is important. I think as I'm getting older, maybe that's the case. But I want to show you the dimensions of the 270 case. So you have a case diameter of it's about 39 millimeter, depending on where you measure it from. It's 39 basically. The lug to lug is 45 and a half, 45.2, something like that. 18 millimeter lug distance, right? So an 18 millimeter lug distance. And there's another case that is basically the same case dimensions. That is the 420 case. Now this is my friend Andrew's. And this case this watch is from it's the Zizou Life Aquatic Bill Murray movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's very unique. But he's wearing this particular watch. Now this isn't the special edition that they made with the unique case back. This is just the regular Vostok case back. But you can see the cases are basically the same. 18 millimeter lug width, sub 40 millimeter width, and the lug to lug is the same 45 millimeter lug to lug. So what's the difference between the two? You're looking at at them both. What's the difference? Well, the difference is, look at the case sides. And notice that the lugs are the exact same, right? The lugs are the exact same, but notice the sides of the case. Notice the bulge that comes out of the 270 case. Now, you might have seen that bulge before. If you're a Vostok fan and you've owned a few, you might have noticed this in the 100 case. The 100 case is bigger though. The lug to lug is like, I don't know, maybe near 50 millimeters, 22 millimeter lug distance, much thicker case, but you get those same bulges, the same cuts on the side, but this comes in the smaller case size. Now, one of the things that stands out with the 420 case and the 270 case is it is a smaller case size. I believe it's the Vostok Amphibia's smallest case size at sub 40 millimeter, which is good for if you have a smaller wrist. You don't mind a watch that's a little thicker, but you have a smaller wrist. This is the case shape you're going to want, the 420 case. It does have 18 millimeter lug to lugs, which I'm not a huge fan of. I have so many 20 millimeter and 22 millimeter straps that I don't have very many 18. By the way, just for the record, I've owned a lot of Vostok stainless steel bracelets. This is by far the most comfortable bracelet I've ever felt on a Vostok. It doesn't rip out hairs. It's the same cheap Vostok pressed metal, but it is comfortable. I was so impressed. It's almost like a Breitling, like an old 90s Breitling or 2000s Breitling, but it actually is really quite comfortable. I was, same cheap pressed clasp and whatnot. But anyway, I digress. Going back to the cases, they're the exact same case from what I can tell, minus the bumps that you see here in the 270. From what I can find on like Watch You Seek and from other people that have talked about the 270 case, they were, I guess, produced in the 90s. Now, this is a very good example, the one that I found from the seller in Hong Kong. I'll also mention that it is a Vostok, guys. They may be hard to find, but don't overpay for them. And beware, people are out there trying to sell this 420 case. They call it a 270 case, but it's not. I've seen sellers out there trying to do that to get these to sell. These are very, very common. This not so common, but you just have to search around for a little bit. The Caseback, yeah, that orca, that whale, or that dolphin, or whatever it is on the back, those you can find on Marinome right now. They are still available. I don't know if this is the original Caseback to this watch, but this case is it's in really good shape and it's very unique. Let me put it on my wrist and so you can see how it wears. Now, as I do that, I'm going to show you my favorite Vostok that I've kept through the years. I modded this one about 2 years ago. This is the 020 case. It is a special edition, so the dial is a special edition dial. It has a custom bezel that's actually, that's full metal. That's all stainless steel. There's no insert there. There's no loom pip either, but it is custom made by a seller on eBay. He sells a few and then he's gone, and then he sells a few and then he's gone. 20 millimeter, 47 millimeter lug to lug. Let me move that out of the way. 47 millimeter lug to lug, or maybe it's 48. Let me double check that while you're here with me. Oops. It's a 40 millimeter case shape. So it's very traditional. That is not correct. Here, there it is. 41 millimeter, 41 millimeter. It's a very traditional case size, and as you can see, it looks like just a normal non-Vostok-ish watch. I really enjoyed this one, but that was just what I had on my wrist. This is the 270 case on my 7¼ inch wrist. Like I said, they're smaller. They are amphibious, so that thick, or not mineral, but plexiglass crystal that can easily be buffed out. You always keep some poly wash. They buff out really easily as long as the scratches aren't too thick. But the watch wears great. It wears great. And the only thing that I'm missing on this particular watch that I'm looking for is a shark mesh bracelet. This particular shark mesh comes from Strapcode. And what you'll notice here is these links are flat, and it is very high quality. It's much different than the Chinese cheaper one. So I'm looking for a high quality shark mesh for this Amphibia. That's what I really would like. But overall, it wears great and super comfortable, because on my 7¼ inch wrist, the crown doesn't dig into my wrist. Even when I have it on a leather strap, it fits. It's a little, smaller, more petite, but as you can see, it's very legible, and I enjoy the heck out of this thing. So I wanted to show you this, what I think is a very rare case, and hopefully you guys have some other suggestions on other cases that might be rather rare. But if you've made it this far, let me introduce myself. My name is Blake. I'm a bit of a watchaholic. And if you've made it this far, I think you might be one too. So give me a subscription. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll continue to provide you some great, unique content. My name is Blake. Thanks for spending your time with me. I'll see you on the next video.